A nearly decade-long missing person investigation comes to a close, 8 years after a 17-year-old Texas boy disappears. But investigators now say the boy was only missing for 1 day back in 2015. Instead, they say he and his mother purposely misled police in their investigation for years.
During the 8-year time frame where he was missing, investigators followed up on many tips, leads, collected evidence proving that Rudy was not missing during the 8-year period.
On March 7, 2015, 17-year-old Rudolph Rudy Farias IV was reported missing while walking his dogs on the north side of Houston. For years, the investigation into the teen's disappearance remained open, but Houston police now say the boy returned home safely just hours after the report went out.
After investigators talked with him yesterday, it was discovered that Rudy returned home the following day on March 8, 2015. The mother, Janie, continued to deceive police by remaining adamant that Rudy was still missing. She alleged her nephew was a person friends and family were seeing coming and going. However, we disputed that.
Officials say on multiple occasions, both Farias and his mother spoke with Houston Police Department officials, purposely giving fake names and false information.
Rudy was recently identified as having previous HPD interactions, meaning that he made contact with patrol officers out on the street. However, during these contacts, fictitious names and date of births were given, misleading the officers, and Rudy would remain missing. In fact, both Janie, Rudy's mother, and Rudy himself gave fictitious names while interacting with various patrol officers.
Last week, Houston officials found the now 25-year-old Farias sleeping outside of a church. 1 week later, he was interviewed by police.
So it's procedure for the investigation to go through a channel, and when it reaches us, we review it. There was no urgency to investigate a recovered or found person. And I say that because patrol officers made contact with him. They ensured that he was safe. They contacted HFD to make sure that he didn't need medical treatment, and he was cleared on scene by HFD. He refused transportation to the hospital. His mother took him to the hospital later on that evening.
At a press conference this week, Houston police announced Farias has since returned home to his mother, Janie Santana.
Rudy's safe. He is with his mother by choice.
And he's an adult?
Yeah. He's a 25-year-old man.
Right.
While the investigation is still underway, police say Farias denied his mother sexually assaulted him during the 8 years he was believed to be missing.
Now, based on Rudy's interview, there were no reports of sexual abuse reported. If there is a disclosure made, we will continue to investigate. Currently, the investigation is active, and there are new leads coming in. We'll continue to follow those leads. We do take all allegations seriously, and any new information or facts that we receive will be investigated.
Yes, I interviewed him, and no, there was no, I'm trained to listen for probable cause. I'm trained to listen for statements that can help me get charges or move forward with a case. And no, there was no statements made during this investigation so far.
Police even hesitant to label Farias as a victim.
The investigation is still going on, Courtney, and I'm not going to say that he's a victim or not. I'm thinking, and saying we're going to treat this just as we do with any potential victim or victim, and we're going to give respect to everybody that's involved. We're going to conduct our investigation, and we're kind of right at the beginning of it. This investigation is going to go on after this press conference.
When asked whether Farias was held as prisoner, investigators had this to say.
We don't have any information to say that there was any kind of kidnapping or anything like that right now.
Officials also say the investigation is still too new to confirm whether Farias' mother has mental health issues.
It's really too early to determine that. There are going to be some more parts to the investigations, and some of that may come into play, but right now.
During the years the investigation was open, police say Santana's home was searched, even though a search warrant was never executed.
No, at the time he was reported missing 8 years ago, being missing is not a crime. So the detectives had no lawful means or probable cause to issue a search warrant for the residence, which was searched several times.
So far, the district attorney's office has declined to file charges against Farias or his mother, but officials say charges could be on the way for Santana.
Yes, she could be reported or detained. That offense is a Class C misdemeanor, which is similar to a traffic citation. Right.
In the end, it was interviews with relatives, friends, neighbors, and medical professionals that helped investigators confirm Farias was no longer missing. Houston police say the investigation is still underway. Farias has since been referred to the Houston Police Department Victim Services and the Texas Adult Protective Services, which investigates reports of abuse, neglect, or exploitation of adults who are elderly or have disabilities. Reporting for Law&Crime Network, I'm Sierra Gillespie.